Welcome to episode 32 of the LAN Partners Podcast. I'm your host, Connor, and I got Matt with me.
Yo.
And, of course, Dave.
Mm-hmm.
So we got a couple action-packed episodes for you. Let me give you a quick snapshot of the next 2 weeks. This week, we have a non-spoiler Wolfenstein 2 review. Matt and I will be talking about that. So the new Colossus, we both finished that over the weekend.
Yes, sir.
So we'll be talking about that. A couple big news stories. That's personal excitement for me. And our discussion for today is we put together over the weekend our 2017 top 5 LAN Partner games. So that is the 2017 games released in 2017, decided by the LAN Partners. And then next week, no reviews, nothing, just straight up our top 10 personal games of 2017. So it could be games released in 2008, but we just now got to them this year. So it's going to be a fun episode next week, and then we're going to take a couple of weeks off for Christmas break, New Year's, all that fun stuff, and bring it back in January. We are 3 gamers who have full-time jobs, families, and other hobbies. Our goal for this podcast is to give suggestions of games for people who don't have a lot of time to game, so that precious hour or two you have to game isn't wasted on a game you don't even like. We talk about new and old games so you can find the best game that fits your style. Please download the podcast by Apple app, Stitcher, Google Play for you Android users, or go on iTunes and hit subscribe. That way you get our weekly episodes uploaded to you every Wednesday. If you have questions, discussion topics, or list ideas, please message us on Facebook, send an email, thelandpartners@gmail.com, or just leave a comment. Let's go ahead and kick it off into episode 32, where we are going to be talking non-spoilers Wolfenstein 2. Now, the reason I'm saying non-spoiler Wolfenstein 2 is because Matt and I are actually going to drop a bonus episode in the next couple weeks where we are going to talk nothing but spoilers in Wolfenstein 2, because it is extremely difficult to talk this game without spoilers.
Yes, exactly.
Within the first, how long, Matt? Like 30 minutes, 45 minutes, there's huge events that take place.
Yeah, major developments.
Yeah, so it's going to be really difficult, but we will not talk spoilers right now. You have our word. So let's just go ahead and get into it.
All right.
So this game was released this year in 2017, December 27th. Developed by Machine Games. Publisher is Bethesda, so it's mostly known as a Bethesda game. Right. I don't think Machine Games is a common household name, but Bethesda is. So the way this game leads off directly after New Order, to the point where you actually have to remake a decision in Wolfenstein New Order to play this game. Matt, what decision did you make when they went back?
So, are we deciding to make these claims here, or is this
It happens in the first minute of the game. You can't even do anything until you make this decision. It's the first decision of when in New Order where you make that one decision at the beginning of the game. Or in the, you remember what I'm talking about?
You're gonna have to refresh my memory.
The big decision between Fergus or the other guy.
Okay.
From New Order, and then they make you redo that decision again.
That's what I thought you were talking about. I didn't know. I decided to choose. I believe his name was. Who you chose Fergus, right?
Right.
I can't remember the other guy's name now.
So you chose the other guy. So I went with Fergus.
I chose the other guy.
So that is like almost the very first thing you do when you play the
instant,
game. Yeah, you relive basically the last cutscene of the New Order, and then it makes you redo that decision, because that affects the rest of the game, which we'll talk about on our spoiler episode. But you wake up as BJ and you're just completely crippled. You can't do anything. You're in a wheelchair.
Yeah.
You're living on this boat, this Nazi boat that you guys stole. And he just can't do anything. And you're starting to be invaded by the Nazis with Frau Engel. She's like the main enemy in the game. And she's actually in the first one also. She's the main enemy, main villain in that one. So basically, and like I said, it's really hard to talk non-spoilers with this game. So basically the whole game, you are trying to liberate the United States. Because, obviously the Nazis won the war. That happens in the first one. And the whole United States is under this Nazi control. So you're just trying to liberate the United States. You travel through a lot of different American locations. So bulk of the game actually takes place in America. So it's kind of cool to see all these different areas. And they capture those areas very, very well, I thought. Mm-hmm. So that's just a little about the game. What were you say?
Go ahead.
That's just a little bit about the game.
Yeah.
Other than that, like, I cannot tell any more about the story without talking spoilers. So we are going to save the rest of that little discussion, the story discussion, for the spoiler episode, which we plan on dropping in the next couple weeks. The game has the exact same breakneck pace that New Order had.
Yeah.
One massive, massive change that they made from this one to from New Order to this one is, if you remember New Order, how they were basically like those designated stealth sections in the game.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yep.
Where you would have to like sneak through an area and all the enemies would just kind of walk through the areas.
They kind of set them up for you so that you could get like cool stealth kills.
Yeah. And there were just designated sections like that throughout the game.
Right, it would kind of slow it down.
In this one, they pretty much, like, they don't make it, this is a stealth section, or this is a, like, go at your own pace kind of section. It's all just one.
Yeah.
Like, you put into an area, there's going to be two commanders, or whatever you want to call them, and you have to, and if you alert them, then the alarm sounds, and then
reinforcements come. Yeah,
then we get crazy. But you have the decision if you want to stealth around and try to kill these commanders, or if you want to just go guns blazing the whole time. So it's your decision. So they don't force you into any sort of
which
stealth.
is nice.
Yeah, it is very nice. But there's a con in that, and we'll get to that a little bit later.
Mm-hmm.
So
I think, too, the important thing about earlier, how we were saying that decision to make in the beginning of the game, it was unplanned that me and Connor chose different decisions on that initial thing, just because we talked about the game after, because I actually played it, and then Connor, you started playing. I know I finished before you, but I think you started playing like maybe a little bit after me.
I was like a couple hours behind you as far as the story goes.
And I know we were kind of texting back and forth, like, let me know when something crazy happens so that I didn't want to spoil anything for you. And then I remember we finally, I think we just found out that we chose differently when we beat the game. Mm-hmm. I don't think we even talked about it until we beat it. So yeah, I mean, it's cool because there's different choices, so it kind of has some replayability to add to the game. So that's something to think about too.
For whatever reason, I just assumed that you made the same decision as me. I don't know why. I have no clue, but I just assumed that this was the decision that most people are going to make, but I guess not. And it's nice to know that because we talk story, which we'll talk about in the spoiler review, about the differences, and there are some major differences. But let's go ahead and jump into our pros. I don't want to go too long on this game since we're going to be talking about so much in our spoiler one, but huge pro. The story.
Yeah,
I mean,
I agree 10 times over.
There's just so much. And one area that this game hit that the first one did not hit very much at all is the character development behind BJ.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He's, because, if you've played Wolfenstein 1, he's like this kind of just like monotone, like tough guy, like, how do they explain, kind of like that bro dude type character where he's like this just really muscular, like great jawline, like real strong looking male character. And he's this, he's a bad A, and that's how, how he's delivered to you. And in this game, like you're saying, just a ton of development in terms of like backstory and finding more out about him. So
and that's what I wanted to know. I wanted to know, like, what is this guy's deal? Like, where did he come from? Why is he in this position? Why is he the way he is?
Superman, yeah.
And you learn everything there is to know about this guy, and it's you see different sides of him, and it's awesome. I thought they nailed it with that part of the storyline, just learning about BJ and his history, and even not just him, but his relationships with other characters, and you get a little background on other characters too.
Yeah.
Which was very unique. So I thought
the story was so good that it sparked articles from other gaming sites asking, "Is this the best story in a single player game ever?" So
that does not surprise me at all.
Yeah, I mean, it's a tough debate to have, but yeah, I mean, for it to bring up that debate is pretty impressive.
Yeah, there's a lot of depth to that, and I can't wait to talk more about that in depth. Another pro that I had was that the weapon upgrades, I thought they were good.
Yeah,
they kind of, the weapon upgrades allowed you to play how you wanted to play.
Right.
Where if you wanted to play more of the, I'm just going to go in there guns blazing, you can upgrade your rifle, your shotgun, those kind of weapons rather than upgrading your pistol or you're putting silencers on weapons to work more stealth.
Right.
So I thought that was good.
Yeah, more customization.
What's a pro that you got?
My pro is just the action, just a lot of really kind of not really like set pieces. And this game is really, if you played Wolfenstein 1, it's really just straightforward. But the game's very like sure of itself. So I think they didn't need to add any like pizzazz to it. It was just really cool action. Like the level design was really fun. And like we were saying, you get into an area and there's a bunch of guys and it's like kind of attack it how you want and it just turns into craziness. So a lot of cool, like it just tense moments just in regular combat, nothing special, but just kind of get the palms sweaty a little bit and it's fast paced like you were saying, Connor, so it gets you going, gets the heart pumping.
Yeah, it was. And they did the pacing so much better in this one than they did in the last one, because I felt like there was times in New Order where you just felt like, oh, come on, like this is so slow right now, like this stealth section.
Yeah.
Like once you get entered into one of those stealth sections, it's the next 20 minutes of you going around and karate chopping people. And
Right.
It's just in slapper mode, and it got a little old. Let's move on to our cons.
Yep.
A con that I have was going back to the stealth in this game. They don't give you a whole lot of stealth mechanics. They set you up as like a Metal Gear 5 kind of scenario where you're just entered into this world and you have to go around and you kind of play at your own pace. And they give you all the mechanics for that, though. This game doesn't.
Yeah. It's like crouch, and that's about it.
Right.
And then you have like your knife that you can use.
You have a silencer on your pistol, which you have to put the upgrade on it. But other than that, you can't move bodies. You can't distract guards to call them over to you.
Right. Exactly.
There's only so much you can do, and I either couldn't find a way or I didn't have the patience to figure out a way to get to a commander to kill them before I get alerted. It was extremely difficult.
I was alerted every single time.
Yeah, and I didn't care. I prefer to just kind of go through guns blazing and all that. But
yeah, if you're playing that game, I feel like you're okay with just going guns blazing.
Yeah, sometimes it was a little heavy, which was fine.
Yeah.
What's another con that you have?
My con was just I know I talked about the action, but the gunplay. I know we talked about this early on. It's something you noticed early on. It's just the game seemed really odd in terms of like aiming at your enemies. It did have an auto assist that you could toggle on or off if you wanted, but like we were saying, when enemies are running or moving, like it was just really hard to get on target with them. And I'm not the greatest first person shooter player in the world, but I'm like, man, I'm not like hitting anything right now, and it just felt like off kind of. I don't know how to explain it.
I have a note that says aiming felt strange, made the game more difficult.
Right.
I remember early on there was plenty of times where I'm trying to hit a moving guy, like running. I'm like, this is impossible. Like I cannot hit this guy.
It's not happening. Yeah.
And the game's a lot tougher than the old ones, and so you have to really set the difficulty down. I've heard a lot of people play it on that baby mode where BJ's in like a little baby costume.
Yeah.
To tell you how easy it is. Like a lot of people play it like that because they just don't want to deal with the difficulty and just enjoy the story.
It was very tough. Yeah, it's very challenging.
Did you put it down to baby mode, or were you going to?
I had it on like the normal mode for like the first half of the game, and then I got to a section where it was just like it almost seemed impossible, so I put it down, and then I just left it down on baby mode.
I had it at like what would be maybe a normal or a notch above, because there was a lot of settings, but I think maybe it was a notch above normal. And then like I died like 25 times at this one section. I'm like, no, screw this. Like I'm going down.
No, thank you.
I didn't go down to baby mode, but I put it down a notch or two.
Okay.
All right, let's jump into our overall here. It's tough to talk about this game without spoilers, so that's why we're going to do the bonus episode for you guys out there who have played Wolfenstein 2, because there's a lot to talk about this game. But Wolfenstein just continues to be my favorite first-person shooter as far as the storyline goes. I don't know if I've ever played... BioShock is up there, but I don't know if I've ever played a better, just story-driven first-person shooter. And BioShock is in a whole different category compared to Wolfenstein for those kind of things, but I just think Wolfenstein is just so unique and so amazing. I can't wait to see where this goes. I'm going 9 out of 10.
Yeah, I think the only thing that held me back from a higher score was the gunplay and kind of the difficulty weirdness, like the spikes of difficulty. But I also went 9 out of 10. It's an amazing game. Anyone that's even remotely interested in first-person shooters or looking for just a good story, this is a game to pick up, definitely.
I was extremely torn between a 9 and a 9.5 because I gave New Order a 9, but I felt like New Colossus was a better game. But 9.5 is high.
Just couldn't give the nod. Yeah,
much higher than. Like, I did not feel comfortable going with a 9.5.
I know.
We're getting into crazy territory there.
Yeah.
All right, so that's Wolfenstein 2. Be on the lookout for our bonus episode of the spoiler review. So if you have not played this game, do not listen to that episode, but please listen if you have. We're going to talk some good stuff. I have a couple of news stories before we jump into our discussion / list of the day. Our news is everything that happened at the awards last Thursday.
Yep.
And at the awards, I personally thought that the awards was better than E3.
I agree with that because they showed off a bunch of new stuff.
Yeah. Matt, what was something that you got excited about from the awards?
Let's see. There was this game made by the developers who made the game Firewatch, which was kind of an indie game. Like you're that guy at you're in the forest. It's kind of like a camp thing, but you're trying to find somebody, and it's like a really cool interactive game. They have this other game coming out where it looks like you're with a partner who helps you, and I think you're exploring Egypt or something like that. And the game, I loved the art style. It almost looked like a Pixar movie. It looked really good, and just the animations, they were tossing bags around and rope and stuff, and everything just looked like it was all motion captured. Like it had a lot of great detail. So I'm really excited to see where that's going. I think it's called In the Valley of the Gods or something like that. So I'm going to keep my eye out for that.
I didn't see that. I'll have to check that out. Dave, was there anything that stuck out to you from the Game Awards?
I didn't watch it, but based on what you guys were saying, nothing really popped out.
Yeah. What about the new Tomb Raider that got announced? Shadow of the Tomb Raider, it's being called, I believe.
Yeah, that's exciting. We know those games are amazing.
Yeah, I still have to play Rise of the Tomb Raider, but I enjoyed the first one.
Yeah, I've not played Rise either, but once I do play, I'm sure I'll enjoy it. And Shadow of the Tomb Raider, I'm sure I'll get on board with that too. But two huge games got announced, or one officially. The other one is a little bit of in the air. But the first mysterious one was a From Software little teaser trailer.
Yeah.
And that was Bloodborne 2.
Yes.
That is exciting if it comes out.
Extremely exciting.
Even if it's not Bloodborne 2, if it's another From Software game, I'm in.
Right. I mean, even the teaser was it looked kind of like Bloodborne, just the style of whatever they showed off, like a weapon or something.
And it's like, what did it say? All something die twice. What was it? All souls die twice or something?
Something like that. Yeah.
Something die twice. I can't remember what the exact word was, but yeah, it has to be Bloodborne 2. And another huge game. And it's weird that we just talked about Bayonetta on our last week's episode. Bayonetta 3 is now official. It is happening. I don't know.
Switch exclusive.
Yeah, that's another. I forgot about that little nidbit here. Switch exclusive. So that's huge for the Switch.
Yeah,
and
massive.
I don't know if you guys remember me saying, what did I always say before I bought the Switch?
If they announce Bayonetta 3, I'm in.
That's right. But too bad I bought the Switch before that. But yes,
preemptive strike.
Bayonetta 3 was my move, and the trailer was. What was that?
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead. No, I want you to finish Bayonetta first.
The trailer was interesting because it showed Bayonetta, and then she kind of went off screen, and her guns fall on the ground to lead me to believe something happened to her. I don't know if there's going to be some sort of offshoot, or if she's not the main character. I don't know. It seemed like a really strange trailer to show her weapons kind of falling as if she was in peril in some way.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. I guess we'll have to see if they start showing more footage or something.
Did you guys watch what was the trailer? The Hideo Kojima Death Stranding trailer?
Death Stranding. That's what I was going to bring up.
Okay.
That's a huge game. I mean, nobody really knows what it is, but it's Hideo Kojima, and I mean that's enough, I feel like, for people to be hyped, because he just creates insane stories and really confusing things, but it all ties together, and it's complex and interesting at the same time. So I mean, the trailer's really long. I think it's like 5 minutes or something.
No, it was like 8 minutes.
Yeah, it's really long.
Yeah. Dave, did you check out this trailer?
I have not seen it, but if it's Kojima, I trust it was quality work.
It's confusing work. That's what it is.
Yeah. Graphically, it looks amazing.
I have no clue what that trailer was all about. I know nothing about the game. All I know is that there's some freaky stuff going on.
There is some weird stuff going on.
And I have no clue. And what's that guy's name? Norman Reedus?
Norman Reedus, yeah.
He's definitely in the game.
He's in the game. Yep.
That is, you could put my LAN Partner guarantee on that one. As far as that goes, there's nothing else from the Game Awards as far as trailers goes that I was sticking out. I mean, Bloodborne 2 and Bayonetta 3, that knocks every announcement out of the park from anything that I've ever talked about all year. So that is amazing.
I think, side note, I just want to say how cool it was. Like, I know they've had Game Awards before, but like, I don't know, this year seemed different. Like, just the production of it, like, it seemed like you were watching any other top, notch award show, like the Grammys or Oscars or something. Like, it was really well done. It wasn't just some like cheap thing that, they just show it on the internet. Like, it was really cool. It was really, the production value was amazing. So I hope they can just keep that up.
They had a TV deal a couple of years ago, but then
yeah, it used to be on Spike, I think.
Yeah, I don't think it took off.
Yeah, I don't know what happened, but it's cool. It was on the internet, so they were able to like just say whatever they wanted. They didn't have to worry about like bleeping anyone out or anything. Like, I don't know, it was just more freedom.
That's sweet. All right, let's go ahead and move into our discussion. Our list for the day will just be our list for our discussion. So our 2017 LAN Partner Game of the Year Top 5.
Dun, 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 dun.
Let's go ahead and launch into it. So we're just going to go backwards. So we're going to start with our number 5. So our number 5, 2017 Game of the Year. This is release. All games we say are games that we were released in 2017. So we're not filtering in any games other than the games. That's for next week. Our number 5 is Persona 5.
Persona 5. So I know I've talked about this game ever since episode 1, I believe. I just started getting back into it again. I took a pretty long break. I had some other games that were shorter that I wanted to get through, but I'm back. I'm committed. I think I'm promising to myself that I'm just going to keep playing until I beat the game. I'm at about 52 hours now.
Halfway.
Yeah, maybe a little over halfway. Who knows? It's hard to say, but the game is amazing. I know I was just texting Dave and Connor the other day. I think when we were putting this list together, it was a discussion about what we should make on this list. And this game, any RPG fan, traditional, like, even like JRPG, just regular RPG fan, I feel like, I know I haven't beaten it yet, but it's an essential game to me. It's something that anyone who's interested in that genre should check out. Just the whole concept of, you're set up as this high school student and you can go around free roam the town and kind of do all these different activities, date people, go to eat food, batting cages, like all these different things. And then even the dungeons, I know we've talked about the dungeons being kind of like a hindrance. We wish we could just spend more time walking around the town, but even the dungeons are still really cool. It's not very frustrating, but it's up there, man. It's an amazing game.
I definitely have extremely high interest in playing this game. I really, really want to. I played Persona 4 for about 25 hours. Then I got stuck in a grind loop. But Persona 5, I'm starting to just say, I'm going to give this game a shot. And I'm just going to put it on the easiest possible setting and just power through dungeons. Because
just go, yeah.
As we've talked about in the past, I'm not a fan of turn-based games. It's kind of boring, the combat to me. Just, clicking to attack and then watching them do the little animation and stuff. It's not my thing. But I really want to give this game a shot, and I'm going to probably wait to see how long it takes you to beat this game. But it's got to be a game that's got to be talked about in top 5 lists. It's just something special about this game that's just taking everyone by storm.
Fun fact about Persona is the full name of Persona. I don't know if you guys knew this, but it's actually a Shin Megami Tensei game. Are you guys aware of that? So it's based on Shin Megami Tensei. Persona is the sub name of it, and the Megami Tensei franchise has been around since 1987. They made a game called Digital Devil Story Megami Tensei, and that was on the Famicom, the original Nintendo. So interesting little tidbit. And there's a new Persona coming out for the Switch and 3DS. So that's kind of neat.
Very cool.
Wait. What? A Switch.
It's in development. That's what my insider Persona dedicated website I looked up said something for Switch and 3DS.
Wow. It's definitely not Persona 5 because I was just reading up on Persona 5 and I heard some I listened to some interviews and they said that there is pretty much like a 0% chance that Persona 5 ever sees its way to Switch because Sony actually funded Atlas for Persona 5 for some of it.
Okay.
So like that's why it will stay exclusive. But if this whatever offshoot that Dave's talking about, that
it could just be just a standard old Shin Megami Tensei game because. The article I was reading was talking about how Persona was just like almost like a spin-off of that kind of took on its own thing. So they might have been referring to a Shin Megami Tensei game that's coming out for the Switch, in which case I think I actually have seen that trailer. So,
okay.
All right. That's good, at least.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. So that is our number 5, Persona 5. 5 for 5 right there. All right, let's go to our number 4. This is where it got a little crazy. This is where the nails started coming out. The 2 through 4 spots. So let's talk about our 4, and that is Wolfenstein 2: The New Colossus. So and I don't want to talk much more about this game because Matt and I clearly already spent 15 minutes talking about the top of the show. Dave, I'm going to turn it to you for Wolfenstein 2. What about this game makes you want to play it?
It just the production quality looked really nice on it, and I was excited to hear that there was a game that was an alternate World War II reality. Just because I think we talked on a previous podcast, I've kind of had enough of the whole World War II. I've seen D-Day in just about every generation of consoles, so I'm kind of over that. So it'd be kind of cool to see, what the world would be like if there was an alternate universe, or I know there's like Heavy Machine representation in this game, so machine based. But interesting fact about Wolfenstein. So the game developers added these little Easter eggs in the game. Did you guys find any like little magazine clippings or any little Easter eggs that you were paying attention to or anything like that?
I found tons and tons of magazine clippings.
Yeah.
I found
Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, there's in the first one, I talked about this on my first review of New Order, the Easter egg of playing the original Wolfenstein.
Yeah.
So what were you going to say, Dave?
Well, they actually were making a connection. There was one magazine article in there that kind of like connected something that's going on in that world with some kind of KKK member to the extremist behaviors of the American media news outlets and a specific story in, current politics, which we won't get into because it's politics. But I thought it was pretty interesting that they were using this game and creating kind of like a parody of an event that was going on in our actual real true to life world as some like insane thing that was, being reported on back, when allegedly this game's timeline was. So it was kind of like mocking the state of news in the United States, which is in shambles right now.
I'm trying to think. I've read almost all of the newspaper clippings. I know there was one where it was was it a court case that you're talking about, Dave?
I believe so. It involved like some kind of KKK member in the game, and it related to an actual like incident that is highly criticized that somebody posted in current media. So
wow, interesting. That's crazy. I'll have to, when I play it on the Switch, I'll have to be more aware of
check it out again.
Yeah, and I will play it on the Switch. But Wolfenstein 2, that is our number 4. That's one that kind of snuck in there because it was such a great game. But it's a great game. That's all I really gotta say about it. Both of us loved it. We gave it 9s, obviously, right in today's episode. And there's not a whole lot of games that will be all of us kind of on the same page of, hey, this game is awesome. Like, everyone needs to play this game. And Wolfenstein was that. Let's go on to our number 3. It is Horizon Zero Dawn.
Dun, dun.
This is, personally, this is one of my, I really fought to get this game on this list, and especially in that number 3 spot. I would even like to see it higher, which we'll talk about next week. But Horizon Zero Dawn, just a game that consumed me for 40 straight hours of just not blinking and just wanting to find more about this hidden world and this new adventure that Aloy is going on. And man, it's just so good. And Matt, I know you loved the game too. What was something that you just thought this game made it extra memorable?
Well, I think it was so good because it was in a time that everyone's been kind of like doing either sequels or like remasters, and this was a huge new IP. And it's always a huge risk, especially with budgets and stuff these days, where it's like, do we really want to take a risk on creating a whole new franchise? And they just did it. And just that whole setting of humans amongst these like corrupt machines, and just a really cool concept that I'm hopeful to see the franchise just really continue to take off.
I can't wait to play the DLC, the Frozen Wildlands, or whatever it's called. Yeah. I cannot wait. I heard it's about 15 hours of just additional content, and I can't wait to get my hands on it. I'm taking a little break from it, though, because I did put 40 hours into it not that long ago, and I got a lot of other games I want to play, but I mean, this game has a hold on me big time, and I miss it. I need it back in my life. I truly do miss it.
So how many turkeys would you say you killed in Horizon?
I don't know, probably 100 maybe.
Well, fun fact. During the first week of Horizon, the developers noted that more than 20 million turkeys were assassinated during the first week of Horizon being out. So
it's like little genocide of turkeys.
Turkey genocide.
Turkeys are extremely valuable in that game, so it makes sense.
Survival
Dave,
of the fittest.
I know you don't have a PS4 anymore, so there's no chance that you actually play this game. But if you did own a PS4, would you be looking to play Horizon Zero Dawn?
I don't really have a strong interest in Horizon. There's other games on PS4 I think I would go for. I mean, I'd obviously rather spend 40 hours on Horizon than a new God of War game, but I mean, neither one was really on my radar to begin with. So PS4 exclusives, Last of Us. I'd play Last of Us, and I'd play Last of Us 2, and then probably Last of Us again.
And Days Gone, pepper in some Days Gone there.
Maybe some Days Gone, depends. I mean, they already changed it once, so I'm actually more excited about the Walking Dead game that the Payday developers are currently creating. They just released that the new trailer for it that looks insane. So that's the zombie game I'm looking at right now.
Nice. Speaking of zombie games, it's one quick side note. World War Z was shown at the awards. Yeah. I don't know. It's not a whole.
It looks like Days Gone, kind of.
Yeah, it's kind of like
like having those huge mobs of zombies.
It looks pretty crazy. I don't want to get too sidetracked, but let's bring it back to Horizon Zero Dawn and finish. I'll just finish up with the note of this game is outstanding. I gave it a 9.5 on my review. Please go back and listen. This is a special game that easily has placed itself into my top 5 games of all time, and I think if I ever kind of get into a dry spell with games, which I doubt I ever will, but if I do, Horizon Zero Dawn is first on deck to fill that void. So that's Horizon Zero Dawn. That is our number 3. Thank you guys for letting me just kind of put that in at number 3. I know it got pretty.
We did it for you.
It got pretty dirty there for a while. So let's go on to our number 2. Number 2 for the LAN Partners 2017 release games is Mario Odyssey. Who wants to go first? I have not played our number 2, so I have nothing to add. Dave, take us away.
I haven't finished the game, but I'm planning on finishing it at some point. I got a little bit of sidetrack action going on here recently, but Odyssey is very good. It's a fantastic game. If it came out at literally any other time this year for me, it would already be beaten several times over. I know multiple people that have gotten hundreds of moons on the game already. I'm sitting around like 51, 52. I have not seen all the levels yet, but from what I have played, I think very highly of Nintendo and the Mario series, and this one has been in talks about being maybe the best Mario game ever created, and currently right now it's sitting up there with Mario 64 for me, so great game.
Matt?
Yeah, I mean, I beat Odyssey, or like the main campaign, I guess we could say I beat. I think I'm close to about 200 moons, and yeah, the game is just as charming and addictive as you would ever think that a Mario game would be, and the additional placement of using the cap to take over enemies and be able to use their skills to help you get moons or just to get to different areas. It's always fun. It's always cool to like explore the maps, because anywhere that you go in that game, they're gonna reward you for it. They're always gonna make you feel good that you try to check behind this wall or something. There's always something there. So it's a really great game. It's so amazing that it's on the Switch and you can just take it anywhere you want. I'll never get over that, being able to play these games on the go like that. It just turned, like, you wouldn't think it's a big deal until you actually have it, and then you realize, like, oh, hey, my wife can, like, watch her show while I play this AAA game on the couch, and it's just, like, such a great feeling. But yeah, anyone, if you have a Switch, it's a must buy. It's a must buy.
It's on my Xmas list, so hopefully Santa Claus comes down that chimney and
Santa Claus
brings me some Switch games.
I gave it a 10 out of 10. So
10 out of 10.
So Matt, did you by any chance use your Cappy to take over any Goombas while you were playing?
Yes, I have.
You did? Well, fun fact about a Goomba is that the Goomba was actually the last enemy created in the original Super Mario series because the developers wanted an easier target for Mario, just some kind of like jobber to come in and just get destroyed by Mario as easily as possible to get players kind of into the game. Also, Super Mario was originally named Jumpman.
Yeah.
Jumpman.
I do remember that little fun fact. I didn't know about the first one, but I did know about Jumpman.
Enjoy those. Let those savory facts just settle in.
We could be playing Jumpman Odyssey now. If that
I think he was called Jumpman in the Donkey Kong games. Is that right, Dave? Am I right on that? Because he had to jump over the barrels and everything.
Those, but I could only imagine that's probably where he got it.
He had to jump over.
That's interesting.
All right, so here it is, the big moment of the LAN Partner 2017 Game of the Year. Please. The award goes to Nier Automata. No, I'm just joking. Breath of the Wild.
Turn of events.
LA Noir's remaster.
Golf Story.
Oh my!
The uncanny valley of LA Noir looks even worse on the Nintendo Switch. Why would you play it? Who knows?
Breath of the Wild is our number one game of the year for 2017, decided and voted on by the LAN Partners.
Yeah.
So
shocking.
Talk.
Well,
if you haven't put this at number one, you didn't play it this year. Is basically what happened.
I know.
So Connor, Connor here is talking big stuff about Horizon, and that's all good. But I would like to point out that Connor did not play The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild in 2017, and he will not be able to squeeze this game in with the time he has left. If you have played it, it's probably your number one, and if it's not, you probably just didn't play it. We did a review on it. It's amazing. It's actually being talked about as the best game ever created. It's in those talks. So
it's amazing. I think, like, when me and Dave talked about it, there's almost nothing you can really say that's wrong with it, unless you're just really, really, really nitpicking and, like, purposefully trying to find something to hate. But the game's amazing. It changes your life. When you're playing it, you're just, like, smiling the whole time, and it's really awesome.
Yeah. I mean, have you ever played the original? Connor, what was your progress like in the original Legend of Zelda?
The original Dark Souls?
The original Dark Souls.
I got, like, 5 or 6 hours in. I know exactly where I'm at in the first one. I'm in like I need 100 rupees to get something, and I'm at like 23 rupees, and I'm like, I'm not dealing with this anymore.
No, thank you. Yeah.
What did you think of the art style of the original Legend of Zelda?
I thought it was awesome. I mean, who doesn't?
Well, fun fact: if you were part of the Nintendo team that was developing the Legend of Zelda, their actual first build of the game was the original Legend of Zelda, but they modified it so that it was more interactive with the environments. And any idea they had, they tested out in the sandbox of the original Legend of Zelda. So there's actually videos online. If you have a Nintendo Switch, you can watch the developer diaries for that game. And I believe it's in the first or the second one. It actually shows you footage of this two-dimensional Breath of the Wild in action. It's actually pretty cool looking.
So it's Breath of the Wild, but in like the NES engine.
2D. Yep, and it uses the exact same it uses the exact same like sprites and images as the original Legend of Zelda. It's really funny seeing it happen. There's like trees that can get set on fire. Link rides a log in it. There's a bunch of stuff in there.
Wow, that's interesting.
That's very cool.
Nice little fun facts you provided for us today on our top 5 games, Dave. So let me recap.
You're very welcome.
Do you have any other ones? You got any other fun facts hitting out there?
Just hiding away.
Well, did you know that Mario was originally going to star in Legend is... No, I'm kidding. There's no other fun facts. That's not true.
Donkey Kong was the original villain of Zelda.
Yeah.
Diddy Kong was actually a character in Jumpman.
So let me recap the LAN Partner 2017 Game of the Year. Number 5, Persona 5. Number 4, Wolfenstein, the New Colossus. Number 3, Horizon Zero Dawn. Number 2, Mario Odyssey. And number 1, taking home the trophy. Do you think Hideo Kojima would accept our award to him, or do you think he doesn't care?
I think he would accept
or not
the award.
Hideo Kojima, Miyamoto.
Oh.
I was going to say, I think Kojima actually snubbed an award one time. So
Probably did.
or
I
Konami
meant
probably told him
Miyamoto.
to stay home.
Am I saying his name right? Miyamoto? Shigeru Miyamoto?
I think he'd accept the award.
He'd accept.
Hey, big time. He's awesome.
They already accepted at the Game Awards, so
He's used to it now. He's got his speech already written. He would just walk up and
special guest.
Insert the Miyamoto gif of him going his thumb up, thumb down, thumb up thing.
Yeah.
So that was our 2017 Game of the Year. That is our list for the day. Next week we have an action-packed episode of just our top 10 personal Game of the Year. So we're just going to be listing off those, talking about those games a little bit. So we're going to be talking about 30 different games. I'm sure there will be some overlap, but we're going to be naming off 3 different lists of 10 games each. So look forward to that, and look forward to Matt and I's spoiler review of Wolfenstein 2. Do you guys have any games that you want to just honorable mention real fast before we go off air here about the games released in 2017 that you felt would probably been a top 5 worthy game? I got one that
Okay.
I would have liked to see. Nier Automata, obviously.
Yeah.
I thought that game was amazing. Something special. Very similar to how I felt about Horizon Zero Dawn. Just a very special game that I just absolutely loved. And I wish that I could play it again, but I just can't see myself playing that game again because of the overlay on the story about the same thing.
Like torturous.
Yeah, not torturous. That's a little extreme.
For me, it would be torturous.
Well, yeah, I love that game. That's my honorable mention. Do you guys have anything before we go?
I don't know. Yeah, I think it was pretty clear cut for me this year. I don't know.
Well, we'll hear more next week on our top 10 personal.
Yeah,
so
definitely.
Can't wait to get to that. Thank you, Dave. Thank you, Matt, for joining me this week for episode 32. We will see you next week. Thank you so much for listening.